Guys, as you can see by the mini-map, I have completed the roof on the dark roof on both cylindrical towers, and you can also see that I've sort of put the put the power cable in the ground. Um, I'm gonna try to sort of quickly go through all these things that I'm gonna try to do this episode. Primarily, we're gonna make this resource processing work properly. It's gonna do some clever things, and there's a lot that I want to get done. So I will try to do it as quickly as possible. And so we've got a macerator and a induction furnace. I also need to add, I'm looking to add a centrifuge here. Is something that we do not have yet. Centrifuge, like so. An argument could also be made a um, for a compressor, although it doesn't right now. The way that the sort of things that I could consider myself compressing, I won't want them all compressed that way. I'll just want some subsection of them. So I think it might just be better to have a compressor separate and not have that be part of my automatic processing. But we'll see. We'll play that by ear. There's room for one right here if I want one when the time comes. All right, so we will put this down like so. Now we've got a golden pipe and a stone pipe. And then what this is going to do is this is going to go right to our output over there. Although some of them we will want to be smelted over here, because so two things off the top of my head that I know that I will want to use an industrial centrifuge for is I will want to take sticky resin and turn it into plant balls and rubber, at which point I just want all that stuff sent directly out. And then some other things that I might want is, say, pyrite that I get from the nether, and from that one of the outputs will be iron. So I will want that to go into the smelting and out. Alright, so now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to, well, so this should be iron, because we will want that to be a one-way transport pipe, and we will only want goods to flow this way. And now I'm going to need to replace some of these junctions with diamond pipes. So let's start taking a look at what that will be. Alright, from above, this is our compressor, or not compressor, centrifuge. And so I'll add things to it as we go, but for now, what we know we need in our centrifuge is, so it's black to go down, and so we know we will need sticky resin and pyrite to go down into our centrifuge. Okay, and then I will go ahead and keep track that we want things to go in, we want everything else to go in this green here. If I ever say colors in a weird way, I am colorblind, so I see this as a yellow and this as a green. I presume that's true, but mostly I just see this as a little bit lighter and this is a little bit darker, so it's a little hard for me to tell. Anyway, so we want things to go through green. We don't really, right now we don't want things to go through anything else. So here's what I tend to do. I'll just throw a caret in everything that we don't want goods to go through. In theory, it doesn't matter. goods will not back up through the yellow end of this pipe if we're just pushing them sort of in the direction of flow that we currently have, and there's no way for it to go any other direction. So even without these carrots right now, goods wouldn't flow in any other way. However, I like having having the carrots in there just sort of as a stopgap. All right, now on to the macerator and furnace. Pop that block off there. We're actually going to need a little bit more room than we've got. Here we go. And so what's going to happen here is we can use 2 diamond pipes to actually force everything we want to go down into this macerator. So what goes into a macerator? We will want tin ore, copper ore, iron ore, gold ore, silver ore, and I'll actually leave another spot for another silver ore. And I've only used these specific ones. I haven't filled it up just yet because I'm sort of dividing it into things that get reprocessed, things that will get smelted and not, just for sorting purposes. And then what direction is going to keep going? Blue is going to keep going, but we don't want anything traveling any other way. So we'll throw carrots everywhere else. So now this pipe right here, again black, and in this one we'll put our diamonds, our apatites, our rubies, monazite, I've never actually used that, redstone ore, coal ore, and uranium ore. Okay. So at this point, actually, the uranium is another thing I think that we use a compressor for. So that might be a reason to put a compressor over there. Again, we might do that a little bit later. And then we still want things to keep going along blue, but we do not want anything going any other direction. Excellent. So now if we drop below for a second, so if I were to put a stone pipe right here, they would connect up. But instead, if I put a cobblestone pipe, then it will not connect to the stone, and we're good. So now both of these pipes drop into here. Oh, I just noticed that I am a little bit off center. Allow me to fix that. Terribly sorry about that. We'll go back and see how long that lasted for. Alright, and so now what happens is, and the goods that do get macerated will come up this pipe, come down here, and now let's do the same thing we just did to this end. So we will put another, we will need 2 diamond pipes again. And again we will need another stone pipe. But of course not stone, cobblestone. And so now what's going to happen is everything that I'll have to do the same thing to these 2 pipes that we want for smelting. So for this one, I'll put things, say, like lead ore in the black to go down. And again, we will want things continuing along blue, but that is all. And then I'm gonna fill these 2 sets of diamond pipes, the black line, with all of the crushed goods that we will want smelted. So all of the ground gold dust and iron dust and stuff like that. I don't have anything on me right now, but I will go ahead and make some, and that way I'll fill that up and then we'll be ready. But I just want you to see that what's happening is goods are being pumped from here, and there's always an open pipe. There's always a blue pipe that is open. And so if we put something funny in there, like our sword accidentally, then it's just going to keep going all the way through, and it's going to run right through our system without ever being processed, which is exactly what we want, because you don't want it either to pop out on some end of a pipe or get stuck in a machine. So this way, if we put something inappropriate through our system or something that just doesn't need processing, it'll just go right through. Anyway, I will crush up these ores, get some dust to filter the system properly, and then we'll be right back. Alright, let's take this system for a test run. One quick comment I'll make before I did. Last time I had not made this an iron pipe, and so goods that got we had some problem with things looping. Goods that got smelted here sometimes went right back around, and so that was no good. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we've got all of our goods here, and I'm just going to throw them all in our black box, and now let's see what happens to them. So let's do this as quickly as we can. Throw everything in. Okay. So now what I expect to happen is a whole bunch of different types of goods are going to go over here. Lots of things are going to get macerated. Here's some redstone ore getting macerated. Oh, looks like we've already had an overload. So that's just tells you sort of how quickly we need to be using the system or not use the system. You'll notice lead is already going through, because lead immediately goes to the secondary hopper here. And now we're macerating things here. Ooh, I had also turned this off in error, so now that we're pumping things out, excellent. So we made some gems and some redstone, and that will go right through to the end. There's no need for that to get processed. And even though the system jammed in this example, I'm actually not all that worried about it for my purposes. I'm almost never going to be throwing 10 different kinds of goods at it to get that all need to be macerated. Alright, so what's this that got processed right there? That was uranium dust. Okay. So again, there might be an argument to be made for a compressor for that. But so now the pyrite got sent down here. Oh, but of course, I'll be right back when I figure out what's going on wrong with it. Alright, I resolved our issue. The issue was this. There was sticky resin above the pyrite dust, and so it was trying to fill that in here. Interesting. And so this is actually brings to light a bigger issue that we have. So I think we had a little issue with too many goods being dumped in here all at once. Honestly, I'm perfectly happy with being limited to 8 stacks at once. That is not an issue for me. That's just sort of I won't be using it worse than that. If you wanted to do this on a multiplayer server, you might want to make it a bit more robust. So this is a very slow process, and there's a real problem with the centrifuge, and that is if you while we're here, why don't we we'll throw those in there, and heck, we'll throw the silver ingot through too, and that should just go right through and nothing should happen to it. Anyway, there's a real problem if you don't put goods that are in the right ratio into the centrifuge. So let's say, pyrite dust gets used up in units of 3. What if there's a remainder once it's used up all of the centrifuge? Once the centrifuge has used up all of the pyrite dust, well, that means the sticky resin's going to be stuck here, and it's never, no pun intended, and it's never going to go through our system. And so I'd already anticipated this problem, and so I'm actually going to move this diamond section one over, and we're going to put a turtle here, and the turtle is going to do a little bit of extra sorting for us. Alrighty, welcome back. So you'll see I've moved the diamond pipe over so that pyrite and sticky resin will come down, and that is all. I put an iron pipe above the hopper so that goods won't fall into the top of the hopper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place, oops, how can I guess I'll place it this way. I am placing a turtle right there, and this turtle is going to be our sorting engine for us. Now I've written the script for the sorting algorithm, and I'm just going to load it up, and I will describe it to you. I'm not really going to go through the full coding procedure, but I will include the script that I'm using here in the link so that you can use it yourself if you'd like, and you can figure out what I did here. So I will copy as startup. There we go. Let's get some daylight, shall we? Much better. Alright, so now I'll show you what this thing does. It needs to have pyrite dust in the first 8 slots like this, at least the way I've coded it. Sticky resin in the next 8 slots. As you get more and more goods that you want to put into a compressor, you would put different goods in here, and you can look in the code how that would affect how things are written. And all the code's going to do is every 10 seconds it's going to go and check each and every one of these slots. And if any one of these slots has 4 or greater, if it has more than 3 of pyrite, then it will place those. It will place 3 pyrite in this hopper here, and then it will keep on. It'll go into a smaller loop, and it will keep on doing that until there are 3 or less pyrite in any given slot. When it gets to these slots, it will check and make sure, see if there are 9 or more sticky resin in here, because that is the amount that the centrifuge wants from sticky resin. So that way it will keep checking sticky resin, and do the same thing and dump any excess over 8 essentially into this hopper. And that way, if we only put the appropriate units of the appropriate quantities of our centrifuge substance into the centrifuge, then we'll never have that issue that we had before of having 1 or 2 clogging the system. Excellent. So let's reboot. So it should now be sitting in our holding program, and now I will take. So if I put 1 pyrite dust, heck, I'll even put 2 pyrite dust and some sticky resin in. It will of course go into the turtle, but the turtle won't do anything, and we can wait here for as long as we want, and every 10 seconds it will check, but we haven't reached enough. But once we add, I'm just going to add 1 more pyrite, and we will see in a second it will go up to 4, and then the next time it checks the pyrite, it will suck 3 out any moment now. There we go. So now it has gone through our hoppers and right into our centrifuge, and it's already started working. All right, so now let's just dump all of our pyrite and our sticky resin in here. Okay, let's see it in progress. So we've got a fair bit now, lots of excess. Pulling 3 at a time out of the pyrite, 8 at a time out of the sticky resin. So now we should have a unit of 8 sticky resin in here. There we go, 48, perfect. And a unit of 3 pyrite dust in here. Awesome. One last thing, actually, I've never used the wooden pipe on a centrifuge. Let's go ahead and make sure that that works the way we want it to. So now what I want to say is that if there is items in the inventory, then you should apply a redstone signal. Now that's going to be a lot of the time for a centrifuge since there's almost always goods in there, but that's alright. Alright, so good. It did grab everything and it should have put the iron dust in here, perfect. And the sulfur dust went right to our output. So everything is working great. So the only thing we have left to think about is whether we want to put a compressor here. But it seems that everything is working swimmingly. And this little turtle sorting device right here I'll revisit that further later. Well, there's a lot of little tricks like this that are really nice. And one thing to keep in mind is that whenever it does not cost any fuel in order to turn or drop objects or do any sort of calculation. It's only the move forward or up or down commands that actually requires fuel. So you can have robots doing some pretty clever things effectively for free. Alright, so we've got our sorting system. I'm quite happy with how this is working so far. There's one thing that we have not done yet, and we have not sorted cobble. And cobble is a whole new ball of wax, and so I will save that for next episode as we figure out how we're going to do that. Excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next time.